Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Next Page. I'm your host, Ange Cooksey, and today the topic is childhood literacy. The Next Page is a program that is created and is supported by the Wayne County Literacy Coalition. The mission of the coalition is to promote and support literacy in all of its forms throughout our community, and especially to support adult learners in exploring and enhancing their reading and literacy skills. Joining me in this segment of the program today is Denise Williams, and Denise is Distinguished Lecturer in the Department of Education at Indiana University East, and her specific expertise and specialty areas are literacy and early childhood education. Denise, welcome to the program. It is great to have you today on The Next Page.
Thank you, Angie. It's a joy to be here. It really is.
Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what brings you and what fuels your passion for working with children and specifically children in literacy?
Well, I am a preschool teacher at heart. That's where I started, and that's where my heart continues to stay, even though I love being in higher education. I really have a passion for working with families and their young children and affirming what they do in their homes that will help children be ready for school. Not just school, but for lifelong learning, and specifically regarding reading, because I consider the reading process still magical. I love the moment when the light bulb goes on and the little squiggles on the page make sense. And I think that there are so many adventures to be found in books. Myself personally, I'm still a lover of books, and I want to share that with families and their young children. So my joy in working with preschool children then I was an elementary school teacher. Now find myself in higher education, preparing those who will be working with preschool and elementary age children, and I continue to work in the community as much as I can to give back. Many families have entrusted me with their children, and I want to give back to the community. So it really, anytime I can talk about children and reading with children, I will say yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. And the literacy pathway runs not only through school, of course, but it certainly runs through the community, through children's homes. We know we have been discussing the earliest research and the latest research on the importance of literacy in a child's life. Talk with us a little bit about what childhood literacy is, when it begins, and how we should best support our children, all the children in our life, as they embark on this path.
Sure. It's exciting to think that we can have such an impact on young people's lives from the moment they're born. And I often ask my students, when should we read aloud to children? And certainly by age 3. And I shock them with, no, actually, I encourage in the womb, but certainly from the first day that they're born. And we discussed earlier that the American Academy of Pediatrics has published a lot of new research, and they're really making it more aware to the public more aware that they're recognizing the importance of reading with children from birth, especially through the first 12 months. And not just reading the words to them, but then sharing. There are connections that you can make as you're talking with children about the pictures, and mommy remembers when she did that. Or so I consider that words, experiences, and relationships are a very big part of literacy. Words, not just reading the printed text, but sharing, which will lead to experiences around and with books, and then the relationships that are built when you're reading with children. The pediatricians are now being encouraged to share books with children and their families at well checks, and will be really encouraging families that's a part of all of the well check, so that we're thinking about the whole child, not just their physical development, but their social development and their academic development from birth.
Oh, I love that, because again, all of those dimensions of wellness for children are related.
They very much are.
That's the whole child who'll be going to school and moving through the stages of development. Denise, how is it that working with a child on literacy can be as easy as just talking to the children every day?
it really is that simple. It's not, I share with families all the time, it's not rocket science. You don't have to have a degree to do it. And it's so much fun. They're publishing a lot of books now that they didn't years ago when I was a little girl, that have to do with real life things and things that we can talk about with children and then go to see them. You can read about worms and go in the yard and find a worm. And once again, that also builds enhances the social emotional part. That's really, I believe, as much a part of literacy as decoding the word. Reading really is about meaning making, and knowing that it's our ideas. Somebody's ideas were somehow captured in these words and pictures. And when children begin to understand that then their own ideas can be captured in a book, then reading and writing become partners. As they're learning to read, they also learn to write, and they continue to be interchangeable skills.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's really wonderful. I still consider it magical how it works, but that books become not just a skill, but parts of relationships, parts of lifelong learning, discovering who they are. And so I see the reading with children, that you read repetitive things, but then you do nursery rhymes. You sing nursery rhymes with them. You mention, do you see that on the billboard out? Literacy isn't just reading a book. Literacy happens when a parent is reading a newspaper aloud. The vocabulary that those children are hearing is really important. We think through the windows of opportunity about learning words that happens, when they're 3, 4, or 5. But brain research shows that the connections in your brain that for the capacity for vocabulary, for learning new words, caps at age, there's a window of opportunity by age 3.
Yes.
So that reading and talking with birth to 3-year-old children is really essential. It gives them the potential to learn more about vocabulary. So we're just reading.
Just last night, I saw on an NPR story that there's been a new CAT scan machine developed for children that just attaches to their head and allows them to wiggle and move. And a part of what this machine is measuring is brainwave activity.
It is.
And Denise, there is so much going on in infants, in toddlers. Talk a little bit about other kinds of resources out there that parents might be able to grab, maybe even on the iPhone that they use all the time,
Sure.
or that computer. Do you know a couple places or apps that might be great for parents?
I know that there are some computer applications that are, I have some friends with young children who use ABC Mouse all the time, and those are some things that learn some literacy skills. But I would also encourage students. Scholastic has an ebook kind of thing called Storia, and you can get books for 99 cents, or that you can download on it. And reading with hearing the words spoken as the words are highlighted is a really important thing. National Geographic Young Explorer is a great free thing that you can just Google on the computer, and they have very simple, written for kindergarten, first grade age, so preschool students could certainly look at it. Free, you don't have to have a subscription to National Geographic to do it, and it allows you to see every month's catalog or a magazine for children,
Yes.
and reads it for them.
Oh, that's exciting.
So you could download that on a smartphone or a computer. So I'm certainly not anti-technology, because there are lots of ways that you can be exposed to literacy through that, and encourage the whole time for it not to be here, you
Yes,
stay
of
busy,
course.
but interacting with and speaking with them.
Yes.
Just conversations, asking
Sure.
children why.
Beautiful. And I love it that this can then integrate more easily into parents' lives as they're working on
sure.
computers and handhelds. Denise, we're moving close to the end of this segment, but I also want to let our viewers know you're not only a great professor, you're an author, and you're creating a series of books about our area for children to encourage literacy. We'll be looking forward to having you back in a future segment.
I look forward to it.
Denise, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hello, Hello, and welcome back to this segment of The Next Page. Joining me here at this segment is Madeline Helser Howard, and Madeline is Senior Library Assistant at Morrison Reeves Library. But more importantly, Madeline, you coordinate the children's programming at the library here in Richmond.
Yes, I do.
You have visited our program before. Welcome back, and thank you for coming to visit with us today. In the first segment of our program, we talked about childhood literacy, really early childhood literacy, and the importance of reading books and having story experiences with children. Tell us what's going on at the library this fall that we can hop into, and we can partner with you in this.
So some things going on at the library that really focus on early literacy. Specifically, we have a program called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, and it's ongoing. You can sign up for it anytime. As soon as the child is born, you can sign them up for it, and it's an incentive program. So every 100 books you read with the child, they get an incentive. And you can read the same book over and over, because you know how 2-year-olds are. They just want the same thing over and over, and that's fine, and you can record it over and over. And so we have a lot of parents that really love that program. We also offer Music Garden the second Friday of every month at 10 a.m. And music really, it stimulates the same part of the brain that works on language. And so it really helps the child develop that readiness for reading and literacy. And the kids love music. I've not met one child that doesn't like music. So that's something that we also offer.
Oh, Madeline, that sounds fabulous. Now let's go back one step, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. What kind of incentives for the children?
So they get nursery rhyme CDs and some books, some stickers, some things that the kids just really enjoy.
Wonderful. Is there anything coming up that's like spectacular for the coming year that's a new program or something our parents should know about because maybe there's a registration or sign-up deadline?
I know in November we're going to be having a Harry Potter party, so keep your eye out on that one.
Wow.
And then we're also having a winter reading program for the second time to keep the kids reading after the holidays.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. And tell me a little bit about the resources specifically for preschoolers and children at the library, if parents just bring them in a morning or an afternoon for fun.
Yeah, we have story times at 10:30 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting at the end of August, and that's for 0 to 5-year-olds. And then we also offer toys that parents can check out and puzzles, because that interaction that the parent has or the guardian has with the child with the toys and puzzles also encourages vocabulary development and literacy development as well, along with books, of course, that we have at the library.
Dr. Williams was talking about experiences, talking about relationships, and those kinds of attributes can be had at our library. Madeline, does any of this come with an expense for the parents? Do these programs for children cost money?
The programs that we offer are always 100% free.
Oh, that's beautiful. And how many ways, like how can a parent get there? What if I'm a parent, I have a child, I want to bring that child to the library, but I don't have a car?
I believe Rose City Bus drops off right in front of the library.
Oh, that's beautiful. So really, I don't see many roadblocks. This sounds like a great deal for parents. Do parents need to accompany their children to the story times and to just hanging out at the library and working or playing with the toys?
Yes, we do ask that the parents and guardians stay if the child is under 10. If the child is 10 or older, they can stay by themselves.
Oh, very good. But really, there's plenty for the parent to do also. Madeline, talk with us here in the final minutes of our segment. What resources do you have there for parents who might want to better help their child have these experiences and read?
We offer some pamphlets. We have this one little booklet that has nursery rhymes and different, like we call them finger plays, and songs that they can interact with their child, kind of like little reminders about how to do all of these things.
Oh, that's great. Because we know kids don't come with instructions.
Right.
And even if they did, every child would be different.
Yes.
These are very exciting programs that you've talked with us about today, and I'm enthusiastic that the library is accessible and that these programs are free.
Yes.
Can a parent get a library card for a child at what age?
At 5 years old.
Okay, very good. But a parent could get a card and check
Absolutely.
out these things for
Absolutely.
the family. Oh, Madeline, this sounds exciting. How many books can I check out at a time?
You can check out 30 items at a time.
Ooh, that's a wonderful
And
number.
all of the juvenile items, all the items for children, don't have overdue fines.
Oh,
only if you lose the
beautiful.
item.
Beautiful. That just sounds great.
Yes.
I'm excited. I hope a lot of our parents in the community take advantage of these opportunities. Madeline, thank you for coming and visiting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Hello and welcome to the Birth to 5 segment of The Next Page. I'm your host, Jim Cohen, Executive Director at Birth to 5. In the past, we've mentioned that Birth to 5 is an umbrella organization that hosts 2 different home visiting programs for preschool families in Wayne County. Today, our guest is Linda Irwin, who's the manager of the Parents as Teachers program at Birth to 5, and she's here to help us understand what Parents as Teachers does and who they serve. Linda, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
you.
Before we get started, could you take a moment and give us a little bit about your background and your history with Parents as Teachers?
Sure. I was an elementary teacher for 10 years, and then I was a high school principal for a couple of years, and we moved to Indiana. I was visiting my daughter here in Richmond, and her parent educator came to visit and was doing a visit with my grandson. And it was just so exciting to see what she could do with them and the milestones that they were working on. And I said, that's something I would like to do. So I became a parent educator, and then I became a program manager from there.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So now tell us a little bit about the kinds of services that Parents as Teachers brings to preschool families here in the county.
Great. We have 4 parts to our program. The first part is the personalized visits that we offer. A parent educator will come out into your home, and we come out once a month from the time that you enroll until your child goes to kindergarten. Our goal is to help your child be prepared for kindergarten, and so we do activities that lead toward that. We know that you as a parent are their first teacher and their most important teacher, and so we want to support you in whatever ways we can do that. We also bring a developmental activity with us that helps along with the milestones that your child should be working on at that stage of life. We do screenings on a yearly basis and check the milestones and look for any areas that could cause a delay for your child, and then help with a resource referral so that we can take care of that before it becomes a delay. Because we don't want that child to have to start school with any delays. We want them to be on the best page that they can be on for learning. We also offer group activities. We have play groups during the school year. We have 5 play groups in Wayne County that are located at different sites in schools and churches and different buildings. And it is open to anybody in Wayne County, even if you are not a Parents as Teacher family. This is a wonderful opportunity for your children to be able to play with other children, and the parents enjoy meeting other parents, talking about things that they're going through with their children. There is a parent educator present there, so she can answer questions and has research material to help with solutions for problems that the families may be having.
You mentioned before that one of the missions or one of the focuses of the Parents as Teachers program is kindergarten readiness. Why is that so critical?
Because we want, when a child starts to kindergarten, for them to be on their best level, ready to succeed in their education. And if they start preschool and they've got a delay and they need to be pulled out of class for a speech therapy or a physical therapy, that's good for them. But if we can get that taken care of before they even get to kindergarten and not have to have those interruptions, then they have some uninterrupted time with their teachers in their class.
Okay, just so the folks at home have an idea, what kinds of things are we looking at in children today to say that they're kindergarten ready?
We're looking for them to match, like in puzzles when they're matching the pieces. We want them to know their letters. We want them to be able to cut, to do fine motor and gross motor activities. We're looking at all types of language activities that we work with to get them ready for that.
Okay. I know that Birth to Five and parents as teachers specifically have a lot of partnerships and relationships with different organizations and agencies through the county. Why is that important to you?
It's important because if the family has a situation at home that they are lacking, that's going to interrupt the time that they have in working with their child. And so if there's a physical delay, a speech delay, if the family needs help with budgeting, we deal with home situations, they need electric turned back on, we have the resource referrals to help them with the things that they need so that they can get their focus back on their children.
So besides taking the parents as teacher services into the home, you become a resource for families in order to reach out into the community and get other support and guidance. Excellent. Okay. What's the importance of the developmental activities that you do?
When a child is born, their brain has a specific time of learning, and we call those open windows. And they need to learn that activity at the time that the brain is open for that activity. If they don't get it at the open window time, it doesn't mean that they won't be able to do it. It's going to be harder for them to complete that task. And the first milestone that we kind of look at, the open window, is attachment. When a child is born, a baby is born, we think just feed them, keep them clean, change their diapers, but there's more to that. They need the nurturing, they need the bonding with their parents, they need the secure feeling that they're going to be taken care of, that their needs are met. And by doing that, it's going to give them self-confidence as they grow up. And so they really need that attachment. If they don't have it at birth, they will be able to pick that up later on, but it's going to be harder for them to do that. Another open window that we really concentrate on is vision. We know that when a baby is born, their eyes don't work together, and they can't focus, and they don't see details. And we need to work on that and make sure that their eyes are developing as they need to, so that they don't miss a part of that open window. If a child would have a cataract when he's 2 years old and the doctor took it off, everything would be fine. But if the doctor would delay and not take that cataract off until he was 5 or 6 years old, the surgery may go well, the eye would heal, but the child would still be blind in that eye because that window has passed of when the brain and the eye work together to develop, and he would have missed that part.
So there's really, in terms of brain development and learning for children 0 to 4 or 5, there's two critical issues. One is mere stimulation, constant stimulation to help them develop new synapses and help their brain develop. But also, what sounds like is a very key issue is providing them with the right developmental opportunity at just the right time.
Right. That is important. And like I said, it's not that they can't catch up with it, but that's when the brain is ready for that task and most receptive for that.
Wonderful. Okay. So tell me, who can benefit from parents as teachers?
Everyone can benefit from that. My daughter used a parent educator. Our parent educators who have children have parent educators. When you are in your home with your child 24 hours a day, we miss things because we become what's used to, what's common. How many times would my husband come home with his hair cut and I don't even notice because that's just routine type things. But you just need a different set of eyes looking in there with that. I visited a family, very good family. They were right on target. The milestones were being completed. Everything was wonderful. And I asked the mother if she had noticed that the little boy leaned his head to the left. And she said no, she had never noticed that. It was probably just the way he was laying. So we picked him up and we put him in the high chair, and he continued to lean his head to the left. And the next day she took him to the doctor and called me and said that it was torticollis, that it was the tightening of the nerve muscles. and that it happened because when she was pregnant, he was a larger baby and he didn't have room to move his neck around, and so his
So in the
muscles
womb,
had gotten tight.
I see.
And so the doctor said with physical therapy they could take care of that, but in a month or two later they would have had to do surgery on the nerve muscles. And it's not that she was negligent in anything, but she just didn't notice that he was leaning his head to one side.
Very interesting. Linda, if I were to come with you on a home visit, what kinds of activities might I see you engaged in?
Okay. A home activity for a baby would be the parent educator comes in, talks to the family, sees what their parenting skills are, sees what kind of questions they might have on development, and then we would talk about tummy time and how important tummy time is, that the baby lay on his stomach 5 or 10 minutes every day so that he could raise his head, strengthen his muscles, help him in rolling over. And so one of our activities would be to bring an exercise ball and lay the baby on the exercise ball with our hand on his back to support him and kind of let him roll. It's a different feeling than laying on the floor, different texture, but he'd still be raising his head, strengthening his neck muscles.
Very good. Okay. Now, you mentioned before that one of the big things that Parents as Teachers does is holds play groups out in the communities and book buddies programs. Now, you mentioned there's 5 play groups a week. Now, that's every week during the school year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then there are also 6 book buddies programs throughout every month, and those are themed programs, and of course they're open to the public, and we welcome the public to come. How can people find out what our book buddies and play group schedule is?
Perfect question. The best thing that you can do is mybirth5.org on the computer. That is our webpage. It tells you what's going on with Birth to 5. It shows you who our employees are so that if you had a parent educator coming, you'd know what she looked like. If you click at the top of it, it says groups, and it will tell you where the play groups are and what time they meet, and our book buddies, and it has the calendar for the next 9 months on it.
Wonderful. Well, Linda, I want to thank you very much for coming and visiting with us today in our studio and our audience at home. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next page.